When Mia suggests a way to bring excitement into their 8-year marriage, Alex is caught between honoring his values and the risk of losing the woman he loves. As emotions run high, Alex faces a decision that could redefine their relationship or break it forever. Alex and Mia were the couple everyone admired. At 33 and 30, they seemed to have it all: steady careers, shared dreams, and a marriage rooted in love and trust. Alex, a school teacher, brought stability and kindness into their relationship. He was the type of man who remembered anniversaries, made Mia laugh with his dad jokes, and always stood by her side. Mia, a graphic designer, was Alex's opposite in many ways: artistic, adventurous, and full of spontaneous energy that kept their lives exciting. Their 8 years of marriage had been a journey of growth, punctuated by moments of triumph and challenges. They had built a life that felt safe yet alive, blending the mundane with the magical. But as much as Alex adored their life together, he hadn't noticed the subtle changes in Mia over the past few months. She seemed more distant, her vibrant personality dimmed by something she wasn't ready to share. Alex didn't press her. He trusted that, in time, she'd tell him what was on her mind. He had no idea that the truth would test everything they had built together. The conversation began over dinner, the kind of quiet evening they both cherished after busy weeks. Alex was relaxed, savoring his favorite pasta dish, while Mia sat across from him, unusually quiet. Her fork traced circles in her bowl as if she were summoning the courage to speak. "Alex," she said softly, breaking the silence. "There's something I've been wanting to talk to you about." Alex put down his glass, his expression shifting to concern. "What's on your mind?" Mia hesitated, her eyes darting around the room as though searching for the right words. I've been thinking about us, about our relationship," she began. "I love you, and I always will. But there's a part of me I've been hiding, a side of me I've never fully explored." Alex leaned forward, his brow furrowing. "What are you trying to say?" Taking a deep breath, Mia finally said it. "I've always been curious about being with another woman, and I think maybe we could try a threesome." The room seemed to shrink around Alex. He stared at her, trying to process what he'd just heard. 1,000 questions flooded his mind, but none made it past his lips. Instead, he simply asked, "Why now?" Mia's voice trembled as she answered, "Because I trust you. Because I want to share this part of myself with you, not hide it anymore. And because I think it could bring us closer, if you're open to it." For Alex, the words were both a revelation and a shock. This wasn't a casual suggestion. It was a bombshell that would shake the foundation of their marriage. The weight of Mia's words hung heavily in the room. Alex's mind reeled with confusion, disbelief, and a faint sense of betrayal. Seeing the storm of emotions in his eyes, Mia quickly leaned forward, her voice filled with urgency. "Alex, I know this is a lot to take in, and I don't want you to think this is about you not being enough. You are enough. You've always been everything I could ever want in a partner," she said, her eyes glistening with unshed tears. Alex's gaze softened slightly, but his thoughts remained tangled. "Then why do you want this?" he asked, his voice a mix of hurt and curiosity. Mia took a deep breath, searching for the right words. "I've known I was bisexual for a long time, even before we met," she admitted. "But I never acted on it. I didn't want to complicate things or risk losing what we have. But lately, I've been feeling like I've suppressed this part of myself for too long." She reached out, placing her hand over his. "This isn't about replacing you or wanting someone else. It's about exploring something together, as a team. I thought maybe it could bring us closer, help us connect on a deeper level." Her words were sincere, but they didn't erase Alex's growing doubts. The idea of sharing such an intimate experience felt foreign and deeply unsettling. Still, her vulnerability touched him, He could see how much it had taken for her to open up about this, and he didn't want to dismiss her feelings outright. "I need time to think about this," he said finally, his voice steady but distant. Mia nodded, understanding the gravity of what she had asked. That night, as Mia slept beside him, Alex lay awake, his thoughts spiraling. The rhythm of her breathing, so familiar and comforting, felt like a stark contrast to the turmoil inside him. He stared at the ceiling, his mind replaying their conversation over and over. Alex had always prided himself on being open-minded, but this felt like crossing a line he hadn't even realized existed. The idea of a threesome challenged not just his personal boundaries, but also the foundation of their marriage. He couldn't help but wonder, had their relationship become stagnant without him noticing? Was Mia unhappy, despite her reassurances? As the hours dragged on, Alex's thoughts grew darker. He questioned whether he was being selfish for feeling betrayed. "Am I holding her back?" he thought. "Is this a test of my love for her?" But another voice in his mind reminded him of the values they had built their marriage on: trust, respect, and mutual understanding. If he agreed to this, would it jeopardize those values? Would it open a door they could never close? By the time dawn broke, Alex was no closer to an answer. He knew he needed to talk to someone, to gain perspective from outside the bubble of his emotions. For now, all he could do was face the uncertainty head-on, one step at a time. Overwhelmed by his thoughts, Alex decided he needed an outside perspective. That afternoon, he reached out to his best friend Daniel, a fellow teacher and someone he had confided in countless times over the years. Daniel was the kind of friend who would listen without judgment and offer honest advice, even if it wasn't what Alex wanted to hear. They met at their usual spot, a quiet cafe on the edge of town. As Alex stirred his coffee absent-mindedly, he laid out the situation, sparing no details. Daniel listened intently, his expression shifting between surprise and concern. When Alex finally finished, Daniel leaned back in his chair, letting out a low whistle. "Wow, that's heavy," he said. "First off, I think it's great that Mia feels safe enough to share something like this with you, but I get why you're struggling. This isn't just about saying yes or no, it's about what this means for both of you." Alex nodded, his jaw tight. "That's the thing. I don't want to dismiss her feelings, but I'm scared, Dan. What if this changes everything? What if it's the beginning of the end for us?" Daniel tapped his fingers on the table, thoughtful. "Look, you have to be honest with her, completely honest. If this is something you can't do, she needs to know that. And if it's something you're willing to consider, you both need to set boundaries. But whatever you decide, it has to come from a place of mutual respect. Otherwise, it'll eat away at your marriage." As Alex walked away from the cafe, Daniel's words echoed in his mind. He felt a little lighter, but the road ahead still seemed uncertain. He knew the next conversation with Mia would be crucial, possibly the most important one of their marriage. That evening, Alex and Mia sat down in the living room, the atmosphere thick with unspoken tension. Alex had spent the entire day preparing what to say, but as he looked into Mia's expectant eyes, his carefully rehearsed words dissolved. "Mia," he began, his voice steady but tinged with vulnerability. "I've been thinking about what you said, and I want you to know that I respect your honesty and your courage. This can't have been easy for you to bring up." Mia nodded, her hands clasped tightly in her lap. "It wasn't, but I felt like I owed it to us to be honest." Alex took a deep breath. "I've been struggling because, for me, this idea challenges everything I thought I knew about us, about what our marriage means. I'm scared of what this could do to us, of what it could do to me. But I'm also scared of ignoring your needs and making you feel like you can't be yourself." Tears welled up in Mia's eyes. "I don't want to lose you, Alex. This isn't about choosing someone else over you. It's about being vulnerable and sharing something I've kept buried for years." They sat in silence for a moment, the gravity of their emotions filling the space between them. Finally, Alex spoke again. If we do this, we need to be clear about what it means for us. We need rules, boundaries, and complete honesty. But I'm not making any promises right now. I need more time to process this. Mia reached for his hand, squeezing it gently. That's all I'm asking for, Alex. Time, and for us to face this together. For the first time since Mia's proposal, Alex felt a glimmer of hope. They were far from a resolution, but they were talking, sharing their fears and hopes. And for now, that was enough. The days that followed were some of the most challenging of Alex's life. Every interaction with Mia felt charged with unspoken questions and lingering tension. They tried to go about their routines, work, errands, quiet dinners, but the proposal loomed over them like a storm cloud. One evening, Alex came home to find Mia in her studio, headphones on, working on a new graphic design project. For a moment, he simply watched her. She looked so focused, so vibrant. It reminded him of why he had fallen in love with her in the first place, her creativity, her passion, her unapologetic sense of self. That night, as they lay in bed, Alex broke the silence. "Mia, I've been thinking," he said, his voice tentative. Mia turned to face him, her expression a mix of hope and apprehension. "I love you," Alex continued. "I've loved you for 8 years, and I want to keep loving you for the rest of my life. But this thing you've asked, it's not just about us anymore. It's about our values, our trust, and how we see ourselves in this marriage." Mia's eyes filled with tears. "I know, Alex. And I don't want to push you into something that would hurt us. I want us to be able to grow together, to explore who we are without losing what we have." Alex took her hand, squeezing it gently. "That's what I want too. But I need to know this isn't going to change the way we look at each other. Because I can't imagine my life without you, and I'm scared of losing us in the process." Mia nodded, her tears spilling over. "We'll figure it out, Alex. I promise. Whatever happens, we'll figure it out together." For the first time in days, Alex felt a sense of clarity. They still didn't have all the answers, but they had each other, and that was a start. The following weekend, Alex and Mia decided to sit down and have a more structured conversation about what this proposal would entail. They made tea, cleared the table, and pulled out a notebook to write down their thoughts and concerns. "I think we need to be really clear about our boundaries," Alex began, pen in hand. "If we even consider this, it has to be on terms we both agree on." Mia nodded. "Absolutely. And if at any point you feel uncomfortable, we stop. No questions asked." They spent hours discussing every possible scenario, from how they would select a third person to how they would ensure the experience wouldn't jeopardize their emotional connection. Mia emphasized that her curiosity wasn't about dissatisfaction, but about exploring a part of herself that she had never had the courage to address before. "I don't want to replace what we have," Mia said. "I want to add to it, to share this part of myself with you. But I need to know that you're okay with this, not just for my sake, but for yours too." Alex appreciated her sincerity, but the weight of the decision still pressed on him. He worried about the risks, jealousy, regret, the potential for unspoken resentments. He voiced these concerns, and Mia listened, validating his feelings without pushing back. By the end of the conversation, they hadn't reached a final decision, but they had taken an important step. They had laid their emotions bare, opening a door to deeper understanding. As Alex closed the notebook, he looked at Mia and smiled faintly. "We've got a lot to figure out," he said. Mia smiled back. "We do, but at least we're doing it together." In that moment, Alex felt a small but significant shift. The fear and uncertainty were still there, but so was the love that had always defined their relationship. As days turned into weeks, the conversations between Alex and Mia became less tense and more open. Both had taken time to reflect, and while the weight of Mia's proposal still lingered, they began to feel like they were on the same team again. One evening, Mia surprised Alex by suggesting they take a break from the heavy discussions. "Let's go out," she said, a spark of her usual playfulness returning. "No agendas, no decisions, just us." They went to their favorite Italian restaurant, laughing and reminiscing about old times. For a few hours, it felt like the world had paused, giving them a reprieve from the whirlwind of emotions. But as the night wore on, Alex realized something important. Their love was still intact, even amidst all the uncertainty. Later that night, back at home, Alex turned to Mia. "I think I'm ready to talk about it," he said, his voice calm but resolute. Mia's face softened. "Okay," she replied, sitting beside him on the couch. Alex took a deep breath. "I've been thinking a lot about what this means, not just for you, but for us. And while I'm still scared, I'm willing to try. But we need to take this slow, Mia. This is uncharted territory for me, and I need to know we're doing this together, every step of the way." Mia nodded, tears brimming in her eyes. "Of course, Alex. Thank you for trusting me enough to even consider this. That means everything to me." For the first time, the fear and doubt didn't feel so overwhelming. Alex knew this was just the beginning of a new chapter in their relationship, but he also knew they would face it together. As Alex and Mia began to explore the logistics of Mia's proposal, they were careful to keep communication at the forefront. They read articles, watched videos, and even consulted a therapist who specialized in non-traditional relationships to help them navigate their emotions and set boundaries. One of the therapist's suggestions was to write down their individual fears and hopes about the experience. Alex's list was filled with concerns about trust and intimacy, while Mia's focused on self-discovery and deepening their connection. Sharing their lists was a vulnerable moment, but it brought them closer, reinforcing their commitment to each other. The day eventually came when Mia suggested they meet someone she had been chatting with online, a woman named Clara, who seemed respectful and understanding of their situation. Alex was hesitant, but agreed to take things one step at a time. The meeting was awkward at first, but surprisingly pleasant. Clara was kind, empathetic, and clear about her boundaries as well. She assured Alex that she had no intention of disrupting their relationship, which helped ease some of his lingering fears. As the night ended, Alex and Mia walked back to their car in silence. Finally, Alex spoke. "I think I'm okay with this," he said, his voice steady. Mia smiled, her hand finding his. "Thank you, Alex, for everything." Though the road ahead was still uncertain, Alex felt a sense of peace. Their marriage wasn't perfect, but it was real, built on love, trust, and a willingness to face challenges head-on. Thank you so much for watching and coming along on this journey with us. Relationships are complex, and stories like Alex and Mia's show how love, communication, and trust can help navigate even the toughest challenges. If this story resonated with you, let us know in the comments. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more stories that dive deep into the heart of relationships. See you next time.